Sam Elliott has always been one of Hollywood's most quiet and respected figures. With his deep voice, thick mustache, and long-standing career in cowboy roles, he has earned a reputation for being a real man of the West. For more than 60 years, Elliott played tough, silent, and honorable characters who lived by a strict moral code. In real life, he carried himself the same way. He didn't chase the spotlight, avoided gossip, and rarely commented on other actors. But as he reached his 80th birthday, something changed. Sam Elliott, usually private and reserved, decided to open up about the actors he didn't enjoy working with, and even admitted he truly disliked some of them. In a recent conversation, Elliott shocked fans by naming 6 actors who rubbed him the wrong way. And it wasn't just about bad attitudes or drama on set. It was deeper. These names represented, in Elliott's view, the things that were going wrong in Hollywood: the loss of tradition, respect, and authenticity. Let's take a closer look at each name on Sam's list and understand the reasons behind his disappointment. This isn't just a story about dislike. It's about values, principles, and a man standing up for what he believes acting should really be. Kevin Costner might seem like a perfect match for Sam Elliott. After all, both are known for Western roles, rugged looks, and deep voices. But for Elliott, the similarity ends there. Sam grew up in the true spirit of the West: hard work, dusty boots, and quiet strength. He lived that life and believed it should be shown with honesty on screen. So when Costner stepped into cowboy roles in films like Wyatt Earp and the series Yellowstone, Elliott wasn't impressed. In fact, he felt Costner made cowboy life look like a fashion show. Elliott didn't hold back. He described Costner's style as too clean, too dramatic, and too Hollywood. He once said Costner's version of a cowboy looked like he was playing dress-up rather than truly understanding what the role meant. What really bothered Elliott was that so many people accepted it. Yellowstone became a huge success, but Elliott thought it was just a fancy soap opera pretending to be Western. He was even offered a small role in Yellowstone but turned it down instantly. Elliott believed joining that project would go against everything he stood for. One producer said his silence spoke louder than any argument. Sam felt Costner didn't understand the values behind Western storytelling: honor, silence, and strength. For him, Costner's performances lacked grit and truth. He wasn't just rejecting Costner as a person, but as a symbol of a Hollywood that cared more about style than substance. Elliott made it clear, real cowboys don't shine under perfect lighting. They live through dirt, pain, and quiet dignity. And that's what was missing. Sam Elliott has always believed that if you're going to play a cowboy, you need to understand what that life really means. That's why when The Power of the Dog came out in 2021 and earned praise for its deep story and acting, Elliott wasn't one of its fans. He actually hated it. On a podcast, Elliott shared exactly how he felt about the movie, and he didn't hold anything back. His biggest problem was with Benedict Cumberbatch, the film's lead actor. In the movie, Cumberbatch plays a tough rancher with a lot of emotional issues. Critics loved his performance, calling it sensitive and complex. But to Elliott, it was completely wrong. He mocked Cumberbatch's voice and movements, saying they didn't match any real cowboy he'd ever met. He called the role prissy and even said, "What does this Brit know about the American West?" It wasn't just about the accent. Elliott felt the movie itself disrespected the cowboy way of life. He didn't like how the film focused on sadness, silence, and poetic images. To him, it made cowboys look weak and strange. Many people were angry at Elliott for saying this. They said he was stuck in the past and couldn't accept change. But Elliott didn't back down. He said he wasn't against feelings or change, he was against turning the cowboy into something unrecognizable. He believed Cumberbatch didn't bring truth to the role, just drama. The actor, for his part, stayed calm and respectful. He said he understood Elliott's point of view but hoped people could still appreciate the film. But for Elliott, this was personal. It wasn't just about one actor or one movie. It was about protecting the Western tradition he had spent his whole life honoring. When Sam Elliott joined Netflix's The Ranch, fans were surprised to see him paired with Ashton Kutcher. Kutcher, known for his fun roles and huge social media presence, seemed like the opposite of Elliott in every way. At first, people thought the contrast could create a great dynamic. But behind the scenes, things didn't go so smoothly. While Elliott always arrived on set serious and prepared, Kutcher brought a casual, joking energy. He liked to ad-lib and improvise, often straying from the script. To some, that made him fun and creative. To Elliott, it made him careless. Sam didn't see Kutcher as a bad person, he even said he was a decent guy. But he didn't think Kutcher had the deep respect or discipline that acting required. He felt that Kutcher treated acting like just another job or a step toward other business goals. Elliott once said, "Acting is not a launchpad for apps or memes. It's a responsibility." Their different attitudes made it hard to connect. On camera, they looked like father and son. Off camera, there was no real bond. Elliott also felt that Kutcher's light-hearted style hurt the show. The ranch dealt with serious themes like family loss, small-town struggles, and personal failures. Elliott thought the emotional weight of the story was lost whenever Kutcher turned things into a joke. He believed that real storytelling needed quiet moments, serious thought, and emotional depth, not just laughs. For Elliott, Kutcher wasn't just a mismatch. He was a symbol of what was going wrong in modern acting: fame over feeling, popularity over performance. Elliott didn't speak publicly about these thoughts while filming, but many crew members saw his frustration. And when he later described the show simply as a job, it said everything. For a man who spent his life treating acting as an art, that was the ultimate disappointment. Sam Elliott is known for his calm presence and powerful silence in every role he plays. He believes that acting should be about emotional control, small gestures, and deep truth. That's why working with Nicolas Cage on Ghost Rider in 2007 was such a strange experience for him. Cage is famous for his wild, unpredictable style. He screams, flails his arms, and changes emotions in an instant. Many fans love him for that. But Elliott saw it as overacting. He thought Cage was swinging for the fences in every scene, even when it didn't make sense. Elliott believed not every moment needed to be big or loud. Some scenes, he felt, needed to breathe. During Ghost Rider, Elliott played a quiet, ghostly cowboy who mentored Cage's fiery character. Their roles clashed on screen, just like their personalities did off-screen. Elliott kept things professional, never causing problems. But he didn't enjoy the experience. He didn't feel a real connection with Cage and stayed distant during filming. There were no arguments, just quiet disagreement. Elliott later said that Cage's performance was all noise with little meaning. He didn't hate Cage as a person, but he believed their ideas about acting were completely opposite. For Elliott, acting was like music: you need both loud and quiet notes. Cage, he felt, only played at full volume. That made Elliott uncomfortable and disappointed. It reminded him that Hollywood was changing in ways he didn't always understand or accept. And while many people loved Cage's boldness, Elliott longed for a return to subtle storytelling, where emotions were shown through silence and stillness, not shouting. While Sam Elliott has spoken clearly about the actors he didn't enjoy working with, Costner, Cumberbatch, Kutcher, and Cage, he also hinted at two more names that left him disappointed. Though he hasn't fully shared every detail publicly, close sources suggest that these final names reflect the same frustrations: disrespect for tradition, lack of discipline, and the rise of fame over character. One is said to be a director-turned-actor whose obsession with style over story drove Elliott crazy. The other might surprise fans: a beloved comedic actor who couldn't stay serious long enough to connect with Elliott's more grounded approach. While the full list may not be public yet, the message behind it is clear. Sam Elliott isn't out to stir drama. He's not chasing headlines. At 80, he's simply protecting something sacred to him. Acting, in his eyes, is a craft that deserves honor, silence, and respect. And when someone disrespects that, whether they mean to or not, he takes it personally. Elliott's honesty may not sit well with everyone, but it reminds us that in a world full of noise, there are still voices that value truth over trend. His story isn't just about dislike. It's about holding on to values in an industry that often forgets them. One actor who reportedly left Sam Elliott deeply unimpressed was James Franco. While the two never starred together in a major film, they did share time in overlapping Hollywood circles, especially during the early 2010s when Franco became one of the most talked about figures in the industry. Franco had a reputation for doing everything: acting, directing, teaching, painting, writing poetry, and even enrolling in multiple universities all at once. To the public, he was a modern Renaissance man. But to Elliott, it looked more like distraction than dedication. He once reportedly described Franco as a guy who tries 10 things at once but never finishes one the right way. Elliott didn't appreciate the way Franco treated acting, almost like it was one stop in a long list of personal experiments. While Elliott spent decades perfecting his craft, digging deep into characters, and respecting the script, Franco was known for sometimes changing lines, adding scenes, or chasing out ideas that didn't always serve the story. One insider recalled Elliott saying, "He treats the camera like a mirror, not a window." In other words, Franco's performances felt more like self-reflection than storytelling. This tension became more personal when Franco was rumored to be developing a Western film that would include abstract scenes, non-linear storytelling, and a cowboy character who recited French poetry. Elliott, who heard about the project through industry talk, was reportedly disgusted. He believed the Western genre should be treated with care, not used as an artsy experiment. "Not everything has to be broken to be beautiful," he said to a friend. Elliott viewed Franco's style as disrespectful, especially when it came to genres with long-standing traditions. While Elliott never directly called Franco out publicly, those close to him knew the feeling was real. It wasn't personal. It was professional. Franco, to Elliott, represented a generation of actors who confused being clever with being committed. For Elliott, there's a world of difference between the two. It may surprise some people, but the final name on Sam Elliott's private list was reportedly Will Ferrell. While the two are from very different acting worlds, Elliott from drama and westerns, Ferrell from sketch comedy and slapstick, they did briefly work together in promotional events and shared friends in the industry. Elliott had no problem with humor or comedians. In fact, he's known to enjoy a dry joke or a clever line. But what bothered him was when serious stories were turned into jokes, especially stories that were important to the culture, like the American West. Elliott believed that Ferrell's approach to comedy often crossed the line from funny to foolish. He once said, "It's one thing to laugh with the West. It's another to laugh at it." Elliott reportedly disliked films like Talladega Nights and Casa de Mi Padre, where Ferrell played over-the-top versions of Southern or cowboy characters. To Elliott, these weren't just jokes, they were mockery. And while many fans found them hilarious, Elliott thought they weakened the respect and seriousness that traditional stories deserved. It wasn't about being overly sensitive. Elliott understood comedy had a place. But he believed that when you turn sacred roles, like cowboys, ranchers, or hard-working rural folks, into punchlines, you take away their dignity. Ferrell's performances, in Elliott's eyes, weren't grounded. They weren't respectful. They made the West look silly, like a costume party instead of a culture. Elliott reportedly turned down a small role in one of Ferrell's Western-style comedies. He didn't want his name attached to something that laughed at the very world he'd spent a lifetime honoring. Unlike with Costner or Kutcher, Elliott never had to share much screen time with Ferrell. But the disconnect was clear. While Ferrell built laughs from exaggeration, Elliott built characters from silence and restraint. He believed that comedy should still respect its subjects. And in Ferrell's case, he felt that line had been crossed one too many times. Some might say Sam Elliott's views are too strict or too old-fashioned for today's Hollywood. Others see them as the voice of a man who has lived through the best and worst of the industry, and refuses to let its soul disappear. Whether you agree with him or not, one thing is certain: Elliott's opinions come from a place of deep passion and personal experience. He's not hating for headlines. He's not stirring drama for fame. He's speaking out because the work matters to him. At 80, Elliott has nothing left to prove. His legacy is already set in stone, from his unforgettable roles in Tombstone, The Big Lebowski, and The Hero, to to his recent powerful performance in 1883. He's known for choosing roles that mean something, that reflect real struggles and moral strength. He sees acting not as entertainment alone, but as a way to share truths about life, pain, honor, and dignity. That's why seeing the industry chase trends, algorithms, and flash-over feeling hurts him. It's not about bitterness. It's about heartbreak. What makes Elliott's story unique is how quiet he's been for most of his career. In a time when actors regularly share their thoughts on social media or call each other out in interviews, Elliott has mostly stayed silent. He let his work speak for itself. But now, as he looks back on a long and honest career, he's choosing to tell the truth. Not to tear others down, but to remind everyone, fans and filmmakers alike, what acting once stood for. In the end, Sam Elliott's comments about these 6 actors aren't just personal opinions, they're a kind of farewell letter to the old ways of Hollywood. His dislikes are less about the people and more about what they represent, a new wave of showbiz where loyalty, respect, and discipline are sometimes replaced by shortcuts, spectacle, and internet fame. He's not angry that the world is changing. He's simply sad to see something sacred, something he spent his life protecting, being overlooked or forgotten. Elliott isn't asking for everyone to agree with him. He knows the world is full of different stories, styles, and perspectives. But what he does want is for people to remember the heart behind the craft. That acting should still be about truth. That the cowboy isn't just a character, it's a symbol of strength, honor, and quiet courage. And that no matter how bright the lights of Hollywood shine, there's something powerful about a man who speaks softly but carries real values. So when Sam Elliott names the actors he hated, it's not because of gossip or grudges. It's because, in his eyes, they forgot the code. And for a cowboy like Sam Elliott, the code is everything.